When he stopped the car, he had no idea what lay ahead. Officers were trained to expect the unexpected. Even during routine stops, there were others in the car as he peeked in now. A little girl jumped out of the back seat, tears streaming down her face. She leaped right into his arms. He knew something was wrong now. This was no ordinary stop anymore. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Police Chief David Snidely's morning started early as usual. As he booked on duty, he wondered what today would bring. His years of experience had taught him that there was no such thing as a dull day at law enforcement. Getting all his equipment together, he hopped into his patrol car and hit the streets. He knew that the nature of his job was an unpredictable one. He tried to always prepare for any situation, and on that day, he'd need to be. Chief Snidely had built a stellar reputation over the course of his career. He was widely regarded and well respected by his subordinates and colleagues for his years of experience and level head. It was a well-known fact that Snidely was known for remaining calm, even when the situation wasn't. However, it was a very different kettle of fish when a situation involved a child. Snidely was especially protective of children. Keeping his composure wasn't as easy when it came to protecting a child. Tensions between law and enforcement and the communities they served had become fractious in many other precincts. However, with Chief Snidely, he made a point of always encouraging community engagement. Through it, he was able to foster a great relationship with the community. He was well loved by his community and respected for the way he did his job. Aside from his actual job, he regularly made time for community outreach programs and worked with the youth a lot. However, even with all his experience, he was still capable of being surprised by the things he encountered on the job. The week so far had been a taxing one. He had been involved in a call-out to a suspect's house that got out of hand. It was a sobering reminder to him that the job often came with many risks. The experience had rattled him as people had gotten hurt. His colleagues could tell that the incident was still on his mind as left for that morning shift. Hay hoped he'd have a smoother week to settle him again. Unfortunately, it was not to be. The chief managed to navigate the difficult period with the help of friends and family. He was back on his feet and ready to give his all to the job again. It was a difficult period, but he got through it. This hard time in his life had left those around him feeling a little uneasy about the stresses he had to endure on the job. Now everyone worried whether he'd be okay if another difficult situation ever arose. They would soon find out how the chief would fare. It was already the afternoon, and Chief Snidely was into the twilight of his shift that day. He responded to a call for backup. A motorist had been arrested for speeding and driving erratically. When the car was pulled over, the officers noticed that there was a female passenger. There was also a little girl in the backseat. Her presence would change the situation entirely. The morrow, Georgia PD encountered all kinds of people in their job. Some were pleasant and compliant, while others were combative from the start. On that day, the speeding car already bore all the hallmarks of a tricky situation. When the driver was approached, he immediately became hostile and argumentative. It was clear that he was furious with the officers. It was a tricky situation, and the officers knew they had to tread lightly as there was a child involved. A witness named Sam Juarez would later come forward. He confirmed that he had seen the woman and the little girl in the car. It was a sad situation as the two adults in the car caused quite a scene with the officers while the child was forced to watch the entire incident unfold. Sam began recording everything. He hoped that the police wouldn't do anything reckless to escalate the situation, as it was growing tenser by the minute. However, no one could have predicted what eventually occurred. The little girl was clearly shaken and held onto a teddy bear for comfort. This made the officers more suspicious of the situation. It wasn't clear if the child was related to them or how she had come to be in their car. Chief Snidely's instincts told him that the situation needed some calm. It was becoming volatile as the driver was resisting arrest. That was when the unexpected happened. While his colleagues were arresting the angry man, Chief Snidely was focused on something else. He realized that someone had to do something about the little girl in the backseat. Apparently, the woman was the little girl's mother. While she spoke with the officers, Chief Snively noticed the child crying. The police chief knelt next to the car and comforted her, answering her questions and explaining what was happening, all without knowing he was being recorded. The little girl jumped out of the car and was ready to confront the officer. She was still holding her teddy bear and headed up to Police Chief Snively. Late that afternoon, the chief was right where he needed to be. The little girl walked confidently up to him during a traffic stop, fighting back the tears as she asked him if her mom's boyfriend, who was being arrested, would ever come home. He was speechless. The little girl's gesture ripped the chief's heart out. He promised her that he was safe and that he would be home soon. She nodded, then wrapped her little arms around the man, laid her head on his shoulder, and sobbed. It was a beautiful moment, and that moment made the officer feel that his work mattered and the smallest thing could make a huge difference in someone's life. The officer was very saddened by the moment, but managed to regain his composure and console the little girl. The police chief encouraged the little girl and told her that she was safe with him. It was a terrible, beautiful moment, and the man had no idea he was being recorded until the footage was sent to him several hours later. Police Chief Snively had no idea that his small gesture would have such a huge impact. After it was posted on social media, it became viral in a matter of days. Everyone congratulated him and said that the force needed more people like him. The country would be a safer and kinder place for everyone.